also the body would be at the mortuary. So the family would collect money from, well-wishers, if at all they cannot afford the burial costs, which, the biggest cost is, cooking for people who came to mourn. And then, of course, they would start digging the grave and printing out the papers. This is in a course of a week or 2 weeks, All this would happen. So the body would stay in the mortuary a week and a few days or 2 weeks. So they would start, men in the village would start digging the grave. During the time I was young, I don't think they were being paid, but now I guess they ask for money. Usually they just, good Samaritans did it, like able-bodied men in the village. And then of course the casket would either be made or bought. When I was growing up, they would just make it. But now apparently they buy, there's some ready-made caskets. And then depending on where the person died, if the person died in the capital, let's say Nairobi, the body would be brought in a hearse on the day of the burial. So the body can be brought earlier in a hospital near home, or it can be brought directly from Nairobi straight to the home on the day of the burial. The money that has been collected will pay for the mortuary and the food. On that same day of the burial, the pastor is gonna preach. They never would say what the person died of. Mostly they'll just make up a story. But I see that happens even today, that in the culture of today, especially like in American culture, when someone dies of like a chronic illness, they would just say it's cancer or it's lupus or something. I see that that's not only in Africa. They really never say, the truth. After the pastor preaches for like an hour or so, the body is lowered into the grave by the relatives or just good Samaritans, and then few people eat, the pastor eats, and people from church eat, and everybody else eats. And then people disperse and go home. The tents are returned, the pans are returned, and that's it. You ever got to say that there will also be a whole lot of crying and, from family members, and they are inconsolable, so you'll be hearing crying and shouting from a very far place, from quite far. Of my childhood games, we never had many toys like, plastic toys, stuff like that. We never had any we never really bought toys at the store, we just used what we could find around the home. And we had a lot of fun, really, during holidays, let's say school holidays. That's when we would play the most games, because after school, really, we would just, do homework, help out at home. But during holidays, we had the most fun, just playing games with village kids and with friends and, with your cousins and brothers and sisters. One of my favorite games was skipping rope. We made rope from tree barks, or sometimes we would get rope from, at home when your parents are not looking. You just get the rope and you go out and play. In the African culture, you had to play very close to home. You wouldn't travel miles like I see Western kids. They hop on their bikes and they, ride for 30 minutes to go to our friends. Your friends really were the neighbors' kids and your, brothers and sisters. Usually, you had to be able to answer or hear your parents call you. So basically, we would, play games in a central place where when your parents call you, you're able to hear them and run home quickly and help, and then run back and play with your friends. Anyway, we skipped rope, we played, ball games. We made a ball with old clothes or socks, and we had a game that I really loved. Basically, depending on the game, we make either a small ball or a big ball. person would stand on their father's side and the other one on the opposite side, and then one person would be in the middle and they would try to hit the person with the ball. So basically the person in the middle, his main job, you know that meme, you have one job, your main job is to dodge the ball. That was really fun. So you try to dodge the ball and they're trying to hit you as hard as they can, and you have to, you know, dodge it, because when it hits you it's kind of painful. Yeah, we played a couple of games. We also played, you know, mom and dad would emulate what we saw at home. Sometimes we would play my grandma, you know, we would play different characters in the homestead depending on what kind of family we come from. We would talk like them, you know, behave the way they do, send the kids to the shop. We had fun, we really had fun playing these games. We got like flowers in the garden, played weddings, we even played preaching. Everybody sits down and there is a pastor preaching, and we just make it fun, you know, for us. I got a really good whitehead. Yeah, there's this one game that I really enjoyed that you would really like play with your, that didn't require a lot of players, depending on how many people are free that day. So if you go out and you find that, you know, the neighbors' kids are picking tea leaves that day, or they're doing other things, you just play with whoever is available. Basically we would dig very small holes on the ground, on the mud, and then we would collect like really small stones and we would put them on the side and we would try to like throw them in the air, and the one that falls doesn't count as yours. Well, this game only required like 2 players, but it was really fun. Holidays in Africa, at least East Africa, are really different from holidays in the Western culture. Christmas season, of course, we didn't really have snow, or even like the gift-giving culture, we don't have it that much, even though kids would get like a new dress, new clothes on Christmas Day. I can attest that even in, you know, well-off families, but this was a thing, to get your child a new dress to go to specifically church with on Christmas morning. It doesn't matter if it's a Sunday or Monday, whenever, you just dress up on Christmas morning in your new outfit and you go to Sunday school to show it off to your friends. And in those instances, like if you came from a humble home, like, you know, my home, my grandma's home, that's the only dress you would get the whole year. So you will really be looking forward to Christmas to get the one nice dress, you know. Many times my mom wouldn't send any money to take care of me, so my grandma would like sell, like when my auntie too would sell some stuff, like some, you know, coffee. We would pick coffee after school, and then she would also sell like just farm things to the market and save up money just for our daily stuff, to daily food of the day. Porridge, and then there was, you know, lunch, and then there was dinner for the people who are gonna mourn the whole night. So the next couple of days would be